Hi, Dano.
There.
How
Hi.
are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm honored to have you as a guest.
Oh,
As you know, we are spotlighting TN warriors all over the country for Rare Disease Awareness Month. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
for sure. I'm a filmmaker. I primarily do music videos and commercials. I have been dealing with TN for about 3 years now. Um, one of those years undiagnosed, just kind of spent trying to figure out what was going on. And yeah, I'm, 3 years into it. It's been pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, how was your diagnosis process? I know you said you were undiagnosed for a year. So,
Yeah,
how did that all go about?
that was hard. I mean, it's interesting. I hear a lot of people with TN having similar paths into how they figure it out because it's so, and that's what's so amazing about this. And thank you for like shedding light on it because it is so unknown. I think that when you're dealing with symptoms, I think lots of it doesn't like come to lots of doctors' minds, and B, for you, something so foreign, and there's very little about it, out there. So yeah, basically, it started with like a very bad toothache. I thought, um, which I could only describe as like the worst toothache of your life that like radiated into like a migraine, basically. I'd been traveling a lot for work, so I wasn't, I kind of just like dismissed it. Finally got to a dentist. They checked me out, said nothing was wrong, you know, dental wise. So they suggested I went and got a CT scan. Went and did that. I was starting to get super nervous, like what it was. Um, and the pain started kind of changing over time. Um, and it became more frequent, and then kind of like shooting pains and stabbing pains and um, the whole thing. And I kind of was like chasing doctors, I feel like, for 6 months, um, until I was finally able to get a diagnosis. But yeah, I think there's like a lot of dismissal. People are like, oh, it's TMJ, it's anxiety, you go down lots of routes where you want to believe what the doctors are saying because those things are so much simpler than TN. Uh,
Exactly. And
so
you'd never even heard of TN at that point.
no, and actually when I had looked up just like my symptoms online, which is just the worst thing to ever do, cancer, crazy things, and TN was like one of the last things, but what I had read was like it's primarily people later in life. So that was also like a red flag for me, was like, okay, that probably doesn't, I don't qualify. But then when I started researching on my own, I realized like, wow, there's so many young people afflicted with this as well.
Yes, it's so crazy to find out once you start connecting with other people that it isn't just older people that have trigeminal neuralgia. It's a lot of us younger people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That
how
was probably.
go for it? I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that was the biggest surprise for me, just in like delving into my knowledge of TN, was how many young people are affected by it.
Yes. So, how has your career in film been affected with TN? How do you direct and do music videos? Oh my God, I can't even imagine the
Yeah,
lights and the sounds. Tell us how you do it.
it's a lot. It's crazy. I mean, I love it. So there's that part of me that kind of just like goes into battle every time. But I'm aware, the loud sounds, um, the lights, like you said. Um, it's hard because it's like it's my passion. So on those days that I'm on set, I'm just in a zone and I'm not, even if I've been having symptoms. Um, but I will say it takes me so long to recover after.
Yes.
Of like, it'll take me a couple days now, which is just insane. I have to just like lay there. Um, it's a combination of all those things. I think the loud music, just being on your feet, the stress of it all, just production, the whole thing. So yeah, it was definitely affects things. But I've tried to kind of lead with the positive, if that makes sense. So like try to just lead with my passion for that day, and try not to think about it until the end of the day.
Exactly. Allow your body to have that excitement in the moment and deal with the
Yeah,
suffering when you can.
it sounds kind of sad when you say it, but yeah, it's true. I mean that's kind of life in a way. Um,
Yeah, totally. How have your relationships been affected?
it's interesting. I think it's such like a silent disease. So I think lots of people don't know that you're going through it. Like lots of, silent um, things like that. Uh,
Yeah,
I think that's what makes it the hardest. And when I first was having symptoms, it was so hard for me to communicate to my partner because I wasn't understanding what was happening, and um, I was a bit scared about it. And I think it became so constant that you don't want to be that person who's constantly bringing the mood down or your energy down, um, how you're feeling. So it's something you definitely have to navigate. Luckily, my partner's super supportive and gets it. But yeah, I think like now we have like a code word for when I'm like having a trigger, so I don't have to go into a whole thing about it.
I love that so much. And I think you seriously spoke to my soul just in those beginning phases of I don't know what the heck is going on with me, so I don't even know how to explain to somebody else
Yes.
what is going on.
It's so true. Yeah, and it's isolating. It sucks, you know. Um, it's a really scary part of it. And then I think like you have to like come out to people about it, you know.
You do.
Yeah, like I think like your closest people, you know. Um, and sometimes like yeah, I'll have to like turn to like a producer that I work with very closely and be like, oh, like I'm not feeling well today, or something. And uh,
Yeah.
it's hard. I think that's the hardest thing for me with production is um, you plan so much in advance, right? But with TN, you have no idea when a flare up's going to happen. So, you know, you're totally screwed if it happens to be on those days of production and there's just nothing you could do about it. There's so many people who've been, hired and uh, everything's kind of been moved around schedule wise. So you just have to kind of work through it. But yeah.
Yeah, that is so admiring that you're able to do that and able to push through. And it feels like you almost have so much pressure on your shoulders to follow through and, fight through that pain. How do you deal with that mentally?
Again, I think it's just like kind of tapping into the passion, So, um, yeah, like when you're on set, it's all about the energy, it's all about the vibe. And I think the director, especially, is someone who sets the mood for that. So, yeah, I mean, I've had to work through some really hard days physically without anybody knowing, as we all have. And I think it's mentally tough, but in a psychotic way, it makes you so strong, you know? Um, and I think there's something kind of beautiful about that, that you can kind of walk away and be like, wow, I not only like did this, but I did this feeling this pain the whole time. And yeah,
Exactly. It's like an empowering feeling.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it's horrible. No one wants to go through that, but yeah.
Yeah. How does TN affect you being a male, from a female's side, I can sit here and cry and complain all day long, and it's just part of being a female. So,
Right.
how do you,
That's funny.
put that strong face on?
I mean, I'm a gay man, so I feel like my my emotions more unexpectedly. But I, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely more of that kind of stigma of just like kind of, get it together. And,
Yes.
you know, I don't think anyone wants to be around someone who's complaining all the time or who isn't feeling well all the time. So it really takes making sure that you're surrounded by the right people that you trust. And yeah, I definitely think like my relationship went through you know, a very tested period with that I'm sure lots of people with TN in relationships go through, where it's kind of like it takes a lot of understanding from your partner.
Oh, totally. I know Michael and I went through that. It's kind of that turning point in your relationship of, all right, we got to buckle down and figure this thing out together.
Yeah, and knowing that it is chronic, you know, it it's there, and it's something you guys have to work around. So, the earlier you're able to put eyes on it, well, I think, and work through that is huge.
Yes, I think that's so important. Do you have any tips for people that are kind of in that stage where the new beginning phase and they're struggling with their partner? What are some tips and advice that you have?
That's a good question. I mean, I think communication is like huge. Um, um, I think communication is huge, and being able to it sounds weird, but I think like really having to just rely on yourself first is huge. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive when you're in a relationship. It sounds like you should be able to put everything on that person and share everything with that person. But I think it's something that you kind of have to figure out for yourself a bit and identify a bit, and then bring your partner into it.
I love that. I think that's so spot on. You have to be so self-aware of
Yes.
what is going on so that you can communicate it and figure out how your partner can even help you.
Yes, because I mean, it's a roller coaster, as we all know, and especially like those first few months of getting diagnosed really is. So to take someone on that is a lot.
Yeah, it is. What do you guys like to do for fun outside of TN?
Oh man, I mean, we're both um, big movie buffs, so we love movies, and we have a dog that we adore, and we go to parks and um, hikes, things like that.
Your dog is so cute. What's his name?
It's a girl,
Oh,
Marilyn.
Marilyn. Oh my
Yeah,
God, how adorable.
she's a sweetheart. She's staring at me right now.
I love it so much. Um, what what about having, is she like an emotional support animal? Does she pick up on your flares?
That's interesting. She is like not officially, but she is my emotional support animal. I think pets are just so important with TN. Um, I think knowing when you have to kind of just surrender to it and lay down and just have your pet with you and just like have that good energy going is just such an important relationship. Do you have pets?
I do. I have a German Shepherd mix named Emma.
Oh,
She's currently scratching at the door wanting in. So,
right.
how do you get through your flare days? What do you like to do when you're in bed to kind of stay positive?
I definitely have just been really good at taking time out. Um, it it's rare now. I've gotten the flares somewhat in control, but I'll still have my bad days. And yeah, I just need to know when to call it quits and just be like, you know what, I need to lay down for 2 hours and do nothing. And I have like my little gizmos, like I'll have like an eye massager machine.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll show you guys. It's and I have like a neck decompression thing that I do that helps a lot. Um,
oh, that sounds great. You're gonna have to share those links with us so I can put it in stories.
this is like the you can get it on Amazon. They're not even that expensive, but especially for like optical neuralgia, I think it's really helpful. It kind of like just massages this whole area.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Good pressure on. I mean, everyone's different. I know that we all get like different in different places. Um, and then I also have this like it's so simple. It's just like this decompression pillow, but you inflate it to the point where it kind of just pulls your neck away from, this like base part.
Oh, I love that.
Gives it lots of relief.
That's awesome. I love to hear other people's tips because then I always get tips from you.
Yeah. What's helpful for you?
Um, I do a neck stretcher. I have it right here.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, so I kind of lay on that. Um, I've been slacking on it, so I need to do more neck stretching.
Yeah,
Um,
it
I
really.
do yoga, a lot of meditation to keep me positive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's really important to try to stay positive during those flares. For me, it's so easy to just dive into, I call it my dark place.
Hmm.
But once I'm there, it's so hard to
Get it.
climb back out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it takes so much effort.
Yes. Nissa is asking, she definitely wants those links, so I'll get those from you after.
Yeah,
And then Miranda was asking, would you ever do a film on TN?
that's so interesting. Yeah, of course. Of course. I think it's I mean, I guess it depends what the approach would be, but um I I love just putting a spotlight on it, and I love that's what you're doing with this page, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. I think it's just important. I think the more educated we are about it, the more we can understand about it, the less kind of stigma around it.
Yes. What do you think is important for people who don't have TN to know about TN?
Hmm. I guess that can the flare-ups can kind of happen at any time, anywhere. I think it's just kind of an important thing to understand if you have someone in your life that does suffer TN that you know it sucks when it comes at bad times, but you kind of have to um, just accept it. And I think in general with people with silent diseases, just I think there has to be just way more compassion for each other and um, looking at each other and realizing we don't know each other's stories and still, treating each other with the fragility as if we did.
Exactly. And that even though we have the same diagnosis, your experience and my experience is so different
Totally.
from each other. Which side is your pain on?
My right side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine is on the left side.
Okay, interesting.
And what does yours feel like? How frequently do you experience pain?
At first, it was like nonstop. Now I've sort of gotten it under control with medication, which sucks. I hate taking it, but it's so much better than the flare ups. Um, they really felt like a mixture of like a toothache and migraines, um, which is so confusing because if you get migraines, it's like, what's going on? But yeah, so much worse. It was basically flare-ups kind of going throughout here, really burning sensations, numbness in the lips. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on I think a lot of people don't realize the side effects of the medication that you're
Yeah.
talking about and like why you said it sucks taking them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it just, it's like that balance. My medication makes me tired. It kind of basically like numbed my nerve receptors. Um, so first of all, who knows what else comes with that? But like, at least that got shut off, you know? Um, it was really one of those things when I first got on medication that I didn't even look back after. There was just such a relief finally after really months of like crying, trying, you know, just being in the worst pain, trying to figure out what was happening. And I would say like it's probably only around like 80%, you know, helping, but that I would take that any day. So the sacrifice, you know, outweighs the side effects.
Absolutely. I think it's so funny that you said that your nerve receptors get shut off because that's how I used to describe it. And I used to say, it
Probably not
doesn't just shut off the trigeminal nerve, it turns off all the nerves.
that. I mean, it's not accurate, right? But that's what it feels like. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, this is why I'm slurring my speech and
Yeah.
I have brain fog and I can't find my words.
Yes, totally.
So what do you like to do for fun? Who are you outside of trigeminal neuralgia?
I mean, outside of it, I'm just a super creative, ambitious, passionate person. I put a lot of my free time into, you know, my art and my work, and I try to be, and um, I love that. To me, that feeds me. I feel my best when I'm working, or when I'm being creative.
I love that. I can just see the passion in your face when you're talking about it. It just brings me joy.
Thank you.
Another question, have you had any surgeries at this point, or are you looking to eventually have surgery?
If I need to in the future, it's something, you know, I would be open to. Right now, knock on wood, I am dealing with it. But yeah, I if needed.
I like that you have an open mind and you're, it feels like you're happy in the place that you're in now and you're kind of just embracing the moment.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, just I think when you go from that extreme pain to just some relief, I am thankful to be in the relief place. Um, so for as long as I get to stay there, and then whatever's next, then I'll deal.
Exactly. I love that so much. I love your energy. You feel so lighthearted and positive, and I just love to share your energy with you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, you're so amazing for doing this again, really, and this whole page and all the fundraising and everything. So glad to.
Thank you. I think it's honestly so important to get the word out. And as you know, I didn't know about trigeminal neuralgia when I first heard it,
Yeah,
and people don't even know how to pronounce it. So we have to get the word out.
so true. I know I say TN all the time too because I'm so afraid it's like a tongue twister, but yeah.
I know. So while we wrap up here, Dano, is there anything else you want people to know about you or TN? Any advice you have for warriors out there? The floor is yours.
Man, that's a big one. I'd say let's just keep going. You know, it's amazing to like connect with all the warriors. This page was so special to kind of come upon. I was following the hashtag trigeminal neuralgia for a while, and then this page came on, and finding other people, especially like in my age range, and being able to exchange stories, I think is huge. And I think having a community is so important for anyone that's going through anything. For us to be able to kind of share our experiences and learn from it. So
I love that. That's so important. And Dano is so open and friendly and inviting. I'm sure you wouldn't mind taking a few DMs for people getting to know you.
yeah, please hit me up with questions and anything, and I'll definitely send you those links,
Yes.
little tricks I have.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and for being vulnerable and just sharing some light into our day today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much again, Dano. Have a great day, guys. Stay strong.